and how much clarity really matters and the clarity of truth. We look at this story of Abraham, and it's a part of the story that's a little hard for a lot of people to wrestle with. It's this destruction of these two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. The sin that was being perpetrated there was they were arrogant, overfed, unconcerned, as the Old Testament says. And Abraham is looking for a way for these towns to be saved. And he keeps on pleading with God, like, if you find 50 people, if you find, and it goes all the way down to 10, if you find 10 people, will you save these cities? And God is always saying yes. So we can look at that at a surface level. It's like God's into destroying cities, and if we do it all wrong, God's going to wipe it out, except for the few frozen chosen. And that's not really the meaning of this story. From a Christian church level, we look at it at a surface level, but we also look at the poetic truth underneath. And the poetic truth is much more beautiful and much more loving than what seems awfully harsh on the surface. And the poetic truth is this: is that God is always out searching, even in the parts of us that are totally broken, because this is about us, this isn't about other people. Even the parts of us that are totally broken, he's always out searching for those spots of clarity, for where the clear truth is, where the rigorous honesty is, where the wisdom is. And wisdom is always this beautiful combination of truth and love. And truth, from a Christian church perspective, is the form that love takes. So that's what God is always searching for. And so when we see it that way, it's a very different read. It's more about saving those folks than it is about wiping everything else out. The other parts do have to get wiped out because they're not going to serve us. Again, if you think of somebody, you go to extreme example, you think of someone who's struggling with addiction, like that addiction's not going to serve them. And so it has to go. And that's what God is doing, will do, is in the process of doing. And at the same time, there's this beautiful collection of these parts of our souls that get it, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. So what I want to do is I want to read to you about this power of clarity. This is from the book Secrets of Heaven, 2261. The more accurate the truth, then, and the purer the goodness it contains, and the more perfect their union, and therefore their ability to develop in the other life, the more blessed and happy our condition is after death. So what that's talking about, friends, and it's a beautiful idea that we get this clarity, we get super clear, and we marry that with goodness because truth is the form that love takes, truth is the form that goodness takes, and they get woven together. And the better that they're woven together, the better that our clarity reflects a loving clarity. Might be a way to say it, just a loving clarity, and they really go together, and then that loving clarity is lived out there into the world. The more we're going to enjoy life. Like, it's that simple. The more we're going to enjoy life here, the more we're going to enjoy life there, because that's what we're created. That was the image we were created in. That is woven in our souls, that whole idea of what we love, what we know, wisdom and love coming together, being woven together, that loving kindness, thoughtfulness might be another way to say it, is really powerful. What would be an example of that? And this was one I preached on a little bit at the beginning of the service on Sunday, and it comes out of a conversation I had with my beautiful wife, which is this idea, and this is a clarity. This is an example of a truth that is very clear, and because it is very clear, it's actually able to bring a lot of goodness into it. And that's this, which is, and this comes from her friend Lori Odner, who said, it's about upping the goodness, decreasing the expectation. Now, you think how much in life we get those two reversed. We go into something with this high expectations, and expectations is sort of a sunny way of saying control. An expectation, most of the time, is we want it controlled. We want it to look like this. So we place an expectation. This is what it will look like. And that puts us way above this idea of being grateful. Like, here it is way up here. Here are all these expectations. And gratitude's gonna decrease in that scenario because nothing ever quite lives up to our expectations fully if we have a bunch of them. And then what comes in between that? Well, disgruntled, sour, unhappy. Like, there's not a lot of good stuff that happens in between those two. But here's where the clarity is. Imagine we flip those. We go to a really super clear truth that we are to up the gratitude at the same time that we decrease our expectations. And then what do we see happen? Well, what comes in between that? Wow, if I go into a situation and I'm not having a lot of expectations, I'm just like, oh, this is great. Look what we get to do here. When we go into that, all of a sudden, like, a lot of good stuff comes in between that space. Curiosity. I was thinking especially about a sense of awe. When we go into something really grateful, not very many expectations, it's just a sense of like, wow, this is so cool. Discovering this part over here, discovering this part over here, seeing this over here, meeting this person over there. Because we're not sort of shackled by our own expectations of exactly the way it needs to look. Because exactly the way we need it to look is going to make it very small. And we just kind of open those edges up, allow God to breathe through that. All of a sudden, the world becomes our oyster, so to speak. We have these ability to just see all kinds of beautiful things all over the place. And, I remember one author saying the mystical experience is where we see God everywhere. And I like that. It's not the mystical experiences like the woo-woo stuff. It's just you start to see God all over the place. And that kind of life is very, very, very inspiring. Simple example, friends, like my youngest daughter is taking a little tour of Europe with a friend. She just graduated college. She's doing a little tour. Was talking to her yesterday. They're over there in Switzerland, which is great. And it's the same thing. Like if she went over to a foreign country, high expectations, low gratitude, she's going to have an experience like this, right? But she goes over there with high gratitude, low expectations. It's going to open her up to be able to see the cultures for what they are, to be able to enjoy good food, to be able to enjoy meeting other people, to not be nervous about not knowing the whole language, all those things. It opens up a whole new way of touring. And she'll have a sense of curiosity and awe about that. So the takeaway is pretty simple. Really come as we enter this new year, really get clear, and know what you know. Be clear about those truths, especially those truths that are married to good and love, and that loving kindness where those two were really woven together. Live that out there into the world. And if you want a specific example of that, up the gratitude, decrease the expectations, and watch a sense of wonder and curiosity appear. Beautiful thing, lots of great things to that, and it's fun to watch life from that particular lens. So I hope that makes sense, friends. And what we're going to do now is we always do at 10 minutes more to come. We're going to come in for a little landing here. When we land here at New Church Live, what we do is we do a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we say hi to people on Facebook who have left comments. So with that, my dear friends, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a little prayer bell here and then go into our meditation. So let's all start by taking a big breath and listening to the prayer bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery hello to anyone who might have joined us here online. And hopefully you are surviving this cold weather. I was looking at it this morning. It said it feels like 9, and that is what it feels like out there. It is very, very, very chilly here in the Philadelphia Philadelphia region. That is for sure. All right, hopping on over to here. Any comments over there? All right, no comments coming up yet. So anyhow, feel free to leave a comment later on, friends. Great anytime you join us. And again, feel free to leave a comment today, tomorrow, months from today. We get them all the time, many months later, which sure is fun. So listen, friends, God